All right, we are on the Gunn Show live with my favorite friends at EBITDA Growth Systems and my buddy, who I would say is actually the host, and I'll be the co-host today because he's so much more personable than I am, Eddie Saunders Jr. For anyone who does not know him. We see the thing behind us. This is actually a great segue moving into 2025 because in 2025, the Gunn Show transitions from the VIP edition to unplugged. Yes, we are taking these cameras on the road, around the country, around the world. We're becoming unplugged. Yes, you can still join me in South Florida. If you want a beautiful weekend in South Florida, we'll take care of you for sure. But we are unplugging the equipment, traveling around the world to bring these stories to you as well. So great story, because today we're in Golden, Colorado, and we're at an event by EBITDA Growth Systems. You might even hear a little bit of noise in the background because everyone's having a wonderful time, and you might notice the drinks because it is happy hour.
Yes.
So cheers to Mike and Dave for joining me for what I believe to be the trilogy this year, the third episode, the trilogy of the Gunn Show. Sorry to knock your lime off there.
Lime's everywhere.
We will be free-spirited tonight. We're going to have all sorts of guests come on, but we have to start with Dave and Mike because this is their event. And Eddie and I had a wonderful time today hearing testimonials. Eddie, what did you learn today about these stories of these folks who have spent time with EBITDA before we dive in to everything that they went through today? What did you learn about today's stories? Welcome back to the Gunn Show, my friends. This is the VIP edition.
There's a clear message across the board that an impact is being made. And it was interesting to me because they're all different levels of engagement, different rates of engagement, and different experiences, maturities in their business. But the one thing across the board is that there's an impact being made. And then additionally, a lot of people excited about their futures that you have laid out for them.
We heard that so many times today, right?
Multiple.
And I would say that excited about, how many times do we hear, because we asked them, what would you be without EBITDA? And they said, I'd be stressed out, I'd be angry, I'd be divorced, maybe my marriage wouldn't work. You know, we heard these jokes today, right? We heard these jokes today. So how was it for you guys inside giving, talk? It was very interactive. I saw it was interactive today and educational.
Well, I mean, honestly, 7 o'clock this morning, Mike and I met and just reflected how thankful I am for a business partner like Mike Watkins. He's been consulting since '99, a whole plethora of education and life experiences that marries up with my life experiences and my experience so well that it just works. It starts with how thankful I am and how thankful Mike is, but how thankful I am to have a business partner like this, because we have a passion, because we love what we do, and we love working with each other. It's fantastic. It's been number one. Number two,
Dave, man, I'm going to pause you. I want you to get into number two, but I just have to say, you say that out loud right now about your experience, but did you know a couple people today that we interviewed said the same thing about you guys? I'm working with these guys because they work so well together, because they bring these experiences of these different attractions. Mike is a lawyer, he's written a book, Dave's run massive shops before. Their camaraderie together is why we're working with them. So let me just say that has been iterated and reiterated from outside perspectives as well. So I wanted to just put that in there before you went into number two.
To have a business, Mike makes me better.
Yeah.
I'm good at what I do, but without Mike, I'd be running a shop, killing it, but I'd be running a shop, and I wouldn't have the freedom to be a consultant and make an impact I'd make impact in my employees' lives, but I have a chance to partner with such a great man like this and make impact in 100 different companies' lives. And that's so much more, so I can scale the impact. And honestly, this life, money takes care of itself. This life's about what you can do for other people, and it's really fulfilling, man. It's really, we love these people. And so it kind of starts there, but this industry, man, I was talking to a young man that started his own company. It's just him. He can't afford our service yet, right? And I said, well, we can help you with some bookkeeping. Call me once a month. I'll give you 5-10 minutes of my time. I don't want anything for it. And we got another guy, we're thinking about selling our business, and he says, well, I got questions. I'm like, call me. I'll help you out. Let's talk. I said, when you're ready, you can engage with us, but I'll give you 5-10 minutes of my time. Sometimes Mike doesn't like that because I'll give my time away. But
no, it's usually the exact opposite too. I give my time away, and Dave's like, what are you doing, man? That's expensive. But
I have a jealous partner.
But Dave, our relationship, like we couldn't be the special sauce in manufacturing without the seasoning that Dave provides, right? I mean, we're credible because Dave can say, hey, that's not the way that works. This is the way that works. And people have to admit, okay, yeah, Dave he's been there, he's walked a mile in our shoes. And so today we had a chance to unveil our capability maturity model. And
how'd that go, by the way? I know we've been talking about it for a while, and I was excited for the release.
What was crazy is I've had 2 people come up to me tonight and say, hey, I'm not optimized, but I'm probably still in developing, like stage 1 or 2. But are you going to have a group that are optimized and do something different with them once I get to optimize? Are you going to have a special deal for us? And they're like, we think the same way. I mean, our capability maturity model is going to allow us to speak to the startup company or the people early in their business cycle, as well as the experienced companies that may be ready for an exit or may be ready for an acquisition. They have different needs. The capability maturity model allows us to help them self-identify where they fit on the spectrum, and then we can even more customize the services that we provide to them.
Can you make one of those for my life? I need a maturity, whatever, what'd you call it?
Capability maturity.
Can I get one
You're
of those?
46 going on 18. Yeah. It'd be a full-time job. It's a heavy coaching job. Definitely a heavy client.
I'm going to need all your time.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Come on over, buddy. But we talk about coaching when you're young or when you're just inexperienced or you're at the lower couple levels, you need coaching. When you get to optimized, it changes to counseling because you know how to do all these things. Now it's about counseling. Hey, we're looking at exiting, or hey, we're gonna buy another $25 million shop. That's counsel at that point. So you go from coaching to counseling. That's kind of when you get to where we were in our careers. So that's what we're really good at for great big companies. All of our coaches are really good at that. So you hit that, now you hit our sweet spot of where we run 100 mile an hour. Coaching, we teach people how to block and tackle. And then when they get to that optimized, then we start counseling. That's right special plays. That's 30-yard plays. Those are splash plays. We love that stuff. And it's great to have, 250 years combined experience just across our coaches. These guys are so much smarter than I am, man. I'm fortunate. I can't be more fortunate.
And what's going to be wonderful is we're going to bring these people to Bali. There'll be 15 or 20 companies that are in the optimized stage.
Don't play with my emotions. Are we bringing these people to Bali?
Colombia.
Yeah.
Colombia too?
These are going to be special events, right? Where we bring them and maybe we chew on a topic, or we talk about the economy, or we talk about target markets, but it'll be a higher level discussion.
Do not play with my emotions.
Oh man.
Consider your emotions played with, my friend.
This sounds incredible. Are you serious about this? Is this a genuine idea that you're considering?
Are we recording?
Oh,
Did we
recording.
say it live?
I see 2 red lights right there.
Then okay.
Yes.
Optimized companies, why wouldn't you do something like that? Something where you can go, it's peaceful, the climate's awesome, the people are awesome, they can relax and learn something. Why not? Why
well, I've been to both countries many times. I can be your tour guide.
I know you would.
Of course. Yeah. So just terribly excited about.
I'd be in a different bed, but I'd share a room with you.
That's fine. In that part of the world, they have rooms with 4 or 5
Eddie, I don't know.
beds.
I'm actually not ready for that. I'm not ready for that.
I don't blame you. Look, I go on guide trips every year. They don't do it either. They know better. So I'm going to give you guys a moment. If there's anything you guys want to say, just not necessarily to summarize, but any messages you'd like to give, because I want to bring on, we have a room full of people. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of people have flown in to spend time with you guys in Golden, Colorado. And because this is the trilogy for us, I want to give them a time to share their stories also and spend time with Eddie and I.
Yes.
And as much as I love you guys and want you to be on camera, the entire 7 hours we're going to be here drinking, let's give some other time to some other folks, right? So just any messages before you guys walk off and we start seeing random people. I think there's a raccoon coming. I heard a raccoon might be coming.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We're sending a raccoon.
Well, I would say that for your viewing audience, manufacturing is a wonderful industry, and there's a lot of money to be made. And if you aren't making money in the industry, then there are probably a couple of things that we can help you do to change your life. Have your business be profitable enough to impact your life in a very positive way. Your life, your employees' lives, your family's lives. This is a wonderful industry, and so don't go it alone. Let us help you.
And for me, I'll double down on today. This is about planning for next year. And people that have a business, if they want to be successful and really reach goals, they got to have some kind of plan. So whether they come to our event or they do something, write a plan for next year. Get serious about it. I don't care if you have a $1 billion company, a $200 million company, a $20 million company, or $1 million company. Figure out who you are, what you really want out of life, what you're good at, and write a plan, and what you really want, and write a plan that fits those 4 things, and drive the hell out of it. I think listening to that gentleman who climbed Everest today.
Oh my gosh, Scott, amazing guy. He signed the book he gave me, by the way.
Cool.
I think he and I are buddies now. We're gonna get in trouble together.
The fact that he climbed the north side of Everest and almost died just shy of a dozen times, that dude has a drive. I wanted everybody to hear what could be done from a guy with asthma after a foot surgery, after breaking both of his hands, climbing the hard side of Everest solo. I mean, you're talking with a lung infection that he got halfway up. You're talking about somebody, that's an amount of drive that most people don't understand.
Yeah, right.
So if you have just a fraction of that and you drive to a plan, you can be really successful, make the money Mike's talking about, and make a difference in your life, and in turn make a difference in other people's lives. And that's fulfillment. Money only is so fulfilling, it's kind of empty. But what you can do with money and the power of the proper use of money is very, very powerful. So that's way we can impact somebody else, but they can impact more people. That's
Absolutely.
kind of the game.
Messages. Appreciate you.
Well,
you got more?
No, we're going to get
Never leave me. Never leave me, Mike.
Yeah,
He said Bali. He won't forget it. He has Bali.
Never let go. Never let go, Jack.
By.
Never let go.
So we're going to give others an opportunity to come up and get on your show and share with you, and just having the two of you take part in this seriously legitimizes what we're doing.
We're honored.
Yes, and just love partnering with you, and we're looking forward to 2025. It's going to be a great year with the two of you guys.
And you guys, we engage your company, Speak Friend in marketing. Tony was a huge fan of yours and said, you need to talk to Eddie. We engaged Tony, you, and MTD, but thank you for being a part of our journey so you guys can see what we do, experience it, and see the emotion around it and see how real it is. Because you can't really tell people, hey, those guys are good unless you know. And you guys are, and I love it that you guys are alongside of us for the ride and experiencing this with us, because you guys are better at marketing than we are. So you can help us help other people. And I love both of you for it.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for going along.
Our reach.
Thanks for going.
Don't cry, Eddie. I see it
know,
too.
just stop.
No, expanding our reach.
Don't forget to leave your lapel.
Yes, sir.
But always a pleasure, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna move him.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my squeezes in.
Yes, of course.
I did research for my next opportunity because I wanted to write a book. And I came across this statistic that 70% of small business owners want to fund their retirement through the sale of their business, when in fact only 20% of them actually had a saleable business. And it broke my heart anticipating the fact that baby boomers, there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and in fact it was a train. And so I really wanted to do something about that. So I wrote a book called Scaling the Exit. The purpose of the book was to articulate a strategy for small to medium-sized business owners to increase the value of their business to the extent that they could actually sell it and fund their retirement. And that was really the first iteration of what became EBITDA Growth Systems and our brand promise, which is to double the valuation of small, medium-sized businesses, specifically in terms of an exit, but double their valuation or we give them their money back.
All right, my friends, it's good to have you on the show. We have one raccoon and one very well-dressed young man. But I'd like you first to introduce yourself to the audience so we know who you are and what we're about to talk about at this amazing happy hour event. And as this night goes on, how much drinking do you think is going to happen when people stumble on the stage, Eddie?
I don't know. I just love that there's a raccoon here.
Yeah, I love raccoons.
Now it's a party.
Now it's so many raccoons in South Florida. They're like my friends, I think, at this point. So
now we got one in
to have one on a
natural
podcast,
fit,
even
right?
better. This is amazing. So, raccoon first, please introduce yourself.
I'm Dan Thompson. I'm the Director of Operations at Ouroboros Space and Defense, and I work with the finely dressed young man.
I'm Nate Bourgeois. I'm the owner of Ouroboros.
Awesome, perfect. So, I know the EBITDA guys want me to talk a lot about EBITDA and what you learned today, and we're going to get into that, of course. But first and foremost, raccoon, is today Halloween?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
I just like this
Is that
every
your
day,
every
though.
day?
Yeah, no, this is the everyday.
Yeah.
So,
Looks very
it's just
comfortable.
coincidental.
So
that
why
it's
a raccoon
Halloween.
on Halloween?
Well, it's actually a fun story that happened at the shop. We run a night shift, and our night shift crew is supposed to keep the doors shut, like keep the bay doors closed. We don't want anybody wandering in at 2 o'clock in the morning and surprising them. And they weren't doing that because it was summer and it was hot. Okay. A raccoon snuck into the shop and was gallivanting around the quality lab and the weld shop and all over the place. And so we woke up to the next morning to like a bunch of text message videos of one of them like following this raccoon around with his cell phone and videotaping it, and then the other one trying to catch it. And they finally got it into a cardboard box with cheese puffs. And we're actually
cheese puffs?
Cheese
I'll be
puffs.
back.
Cheese puffs.
And they were actually able to get it out of the shop and like crisis averted. But in the process, they incriminated themselves for keeping the door open. And so Nate and I and one of the other guys who work with us here, Sean, dressed up as raccoons, snuck in at night and scared the heck out of them to teach them their lesson not to keep the door open.
That's fantastic. All right, let's jump into the business itself, because as much as I love the EBITDA folks, it is always very important for anyone who's courageous enough to share their story on here that the audience knows who you are and where you come from and why you're doing it, right?
Absolutely.
So the first thing I love to ask people is, how the heck did you get here? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you love it, or do you not love it?
I do.
You know, that kind of thing. And then we get into the business itself. So how did you get into manufacturing?
I actually got into metalworking through a tangent industry. I was working as a luthier in Nashville, making high-end acoustic guitars for a Batson guitar company, and working there. Corey Batson, awesome craftsman, one of the smartest guys I've ever met. He showed me a lot about woodworking, and through that we had to build jigs and fixtures, so learned how to do a little bit of MIG welding, and I was like, man, this is really cool to get to expand my capabilities as a maker by doing metalworking. So I grew an interest in metalworking and fabrication, went to welding school, and actually took the welding side of it into a career. I was working in the nuclear industry doing TIG welding, building superheater assemblies, and really loved that side of things, and decided that I wanted to go out on my own, start a fabrication shop, and make race car parts. And it's kind of...
This is an awesome journey so far.
Just
Guitars,
bouncing,
nuclear, race car.
Please
what?
don't stop. Please keep going.
What in the world?
Like, I need to know what happens next.
Yeah, so we just kind of bounced along down the way, but the race car industry was fun. Titanium exhaust and turbo kits and stuff like that. Really enjoyed building it, but it's definitely a champagne taste on a beer budget type of industry.
I got that a lot.
Yeah, so decided, all right, I really want to take the quality that I care about and apply it to industries that are a little bit more impactful to me. I decided that I wanted to go after aerospace and particularly space industry. It's just something I've been passionate about for my whole life, so I wanted to see if I could kind of breach that industry, and assumed it would take 10, 15 years to kind of get into that, and we penetrated that industry actually very quickly. It took about a year for us to get some contracts with NASA doing welding, and I fell in love with that. It was so cool to get to contribute on these things that I just thought I'd never be able to have any kind of influence on. So we kept on having customers come to us with the welding work and then say, hey, we'd really like to have you do machining work too. If you're interested in it, we'd like to have you do the welding and the machining, one-stop shop. And after hearing enough customers say the same thing, well, I guess I should go buy a mill. So went out, bought a 3-axis mill. We keep on sending 4th-axis parts. I'm like, all right, fine, we'll put a 4th axis on there. Keep sending 4th-axis parts. All right, they're 5-axis parts. Fine, I'll go get a 5-axis. And I didn't know enough to be afraid of nasty stuff. So I just kept saying yes to parts that I had no right saying yes to.
I love that.
But my philosophy on it was always somebody out there is making this thing because they know something that I don't know. It is not a matter of, well, I mean, there's definitely a capital expense to be able to have the equipment to do the thing, but outside of having the right tool is having the knowledge to do it. So I pursued the knowledge side of it to try to learn as quickly as I could from people who knew more than me, whether that be from asking guys that I met online or watching videos or whatever I could find, or talking to people in person that have done this before, and learn as quickly as I could so that we could get into very complex work. And now we almost exclusively do very tight tolerance, difficult components for the space industry. So we've kind of taken a little bit of a wild ride over the last 5-6 years.
I was just he beat me. He could read minds to go along with all the other cool transitions. Was how long have you been doing it now? 5-6 years?
We started the company in 2016, so 8 years.
Wow. And you expected it to take much longer in the first year. But it makes sense. How many times do you hear, I'm going to outsource my fabrication, I'm going to outsource my grinding, I'm going to outsource, if you're doing fabrication, I'm going to outsource my machine, whatever it might be. We hear it all the time. So being able to implement that, and you guys work together, yeah?
Yep.
And your role?
I'm the director of operations, so I'm trying to eat all of the work that Nate is continually selling.
Very much like a raccoon.
Make sure, just gobbling up all the trash. Although
hopefully it's less trash.
No trash.
Nate's been doing a great job lately of keeping us fed on really good work that fits us super well. We've been able to kind of build ourselves a unique spot in the industry where we've got super highly skilled machinists on the day side. And using like the VeraOS swap system from Shunk, we're able to put in really difficult, challenging HTAs, 3D printed Inconel rocket parts, all these things that require a really fine touch from a really skilled person during the day. And then we pull that whole pallet out and throw in a production pallet for the night shift. And so I've got really, really highly skilled people during the day and one really highly skilled guy running around at night keeping 5, 6, 7 machines going. And so we're able to kind of swallow both worlds of big production, at least in the aerospace and defense industry, so small production relative to most big actual manufacturing, paired with really highly complex stuff that not very many people can do.
That's actually going to be one of my questions based on the role that you're currently in. How do you like machining those super alloys? You mentioned Inconel already. Mm-hmm. I know what a pain in the butt some of those can be. How do you like it?
I think we do a really great job with managing all the HTA stuff. Oddly enough, we've been learning lately that the 3D printed stuff actually machines a bit differently than the billet. And so we'll get 625, 718 Inconel printed, and it machines pretty well. And so, because it's 3D printed already, the amount of material removal we're doing is a lot lower because we're much closer to near net. We're mostly just finishing bores and putting tight tolerance seal interfaces on the thing. AS5202 ports, things like that. But so not a ton of material removal, but it still feels like they're machining easier. So that's one thing we've definitely learned on that side of things. And so
I'll give some credit also to the programmer that's running it, Aaron, if you're listening out there. He kills it and has set all of those parts up to be very, very stable and dependable, and has done a great job on getting those to be repeatable and get good tool life out of them. Inconel, even on the 3D printed side, is still a nasty material.
Hey, shout out to Aaron.
Yeah, he's a G.
I have a curiosity right now, though. Do you think, and I know we're recording, and I hope this isn't a question we can't answer or don't know the answer to, and I don't want you to make something up if we don't. Do you think there is a different structure to a 3D printed Inconel versus, because you mentioned it's easier. We know how much high nickel alloy is in it.
Yeah.
I would really love to dive into that as a metallurgist and find out if there is an actual difference, because there's not supposed to be, especially when these components are supposed to be compliant with the world that you're working in. But I'm so curious right now.
Yeah, so there's definitely a difference in the grain structure from something that's 3D printed versus forged.
Okay.
And I think that the grain I would anticipate is just smaller, but it's much better mechanical properties than something that's sintered or cast, and really it's welded. I mean, that's what 3D printing is. It's a welding process. It's depositing powder and welding the powder into a near net shape, and it machines very cleanly. We're noticing that the expectation I had getting into machining 3D printed, hardware was that there would be some issues with delamination or porosity or things of that nature, and we've seen none of it. It's been really, really high quality. The finished components look like they could have come from billet. They're very, very high quality 3D prints. So kudos to the engineers that are working on that, because the level of quality on 3D prints now versus even 5 or 6 years ago is astronomical.
Yeah, agreed. And what's the time like to print an Inconel versus ordering an Inconel from a billet or something like that?
So we don't do any of the 3D printing in-house.
So
Our
you're
customers
bringing
send
that
us.
in. Okay.
Yep, they send us the 3D
so you're not
printed
concerned
parts.
with that lead time?
We're
on
oftentimes-
receiving it you are, but not
Yeah.
on printing
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Often have a PO well in advance of parts showing up.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're kind of chomping at the bit to get going and waiting on those.
So I'm going to give a really bad analogy, but I try to do my very best to make things as basic as possible for the hopefully the potential of people outside of our industry to understand when we start talking all of these materials and hard to cut and this and that, to understand what those differences might be. You mentioned the grain structure, right? And so I picture it almost as if have you ever had a piece of salmon?
I have.
This is a really bad segue. Have you ever had a piece of salmon? And have you ever taken that salmon and if you cut it a certain way, you can do it with a fork, it just slides in a certain direction, but the opposite direction, it's like you're ripping the salmon apart. It almost sounds like through 3D printing and the grain structure, it's more of that, we're just sliding in that general direction of how it's printed and cut versus the billet style. And that's probably a bad analogy, but it seems to be, and do you find that your tools are lasting longer when you cut it through?
The amount of time actually in the cut in the 3D printed parts, since it is so much less material removal, it's hard to say what the tool life is.
Yeah.
If we got to run the same 3D printed, like just one piece of it
Years
over
at
and
a
over and
time.
over for a long time, we'd get better data on that. But we don't have the same material removal rate, so it is hard to calculate that tool life. But we run a pretty good amount of housings back to back to back without having to even change the tool. So it's pretty impressive.
Are you using ceramics?
We use ceramics on some things. On a lot of the 3D printed turbo machinery parts that are smaller, we find that it is actually cost effective to use carbide still.
Is it because you find it more rubbing instead of cutting on the ceramics?
We just don't have, if it's so small, we don't have the time to really get up to speed and stay up to speed in the cut to really take advantage of ceramics. But on some of the bigger housings, that's the way to go.
Well, Eddie, I'm stealing all the time right now because I have so many questions about what's going on.
Y'all are nerding out, and that's completely okay. Nothing wrong with it, brother.
I love nerding out. All right, so
Not a thing wrong with it. You push his machinist button. is what you do.
yeah. I'm having flashbacks to my days of pushing buttons myself. Let's make this work. EBITDA Growth Systems. We're here today for them. We're drinking for free thanks to them.
Love it.
We're probably going to have a worse podcast as the hours go on thanks to them as well. Fortunately, you're the first guest on today. Why did you come to this event, and what do you feel like you've learned? We'll start here and then we'll slide this way, but why did you come and what do you feel like you've learned? Has it been beneficial or did you just come for the alcohol?
The alcohol is just an added benefit.
And the costume.
Well, like I said, this is my everyday, so.
I like this guy, Eddie.
This is an evening
I
outfit.
could hang out with him regularly.
This
I
is,
think.
it may as
home
well
for-
be Friday night.
Where's home for
Might as
you?
well.
Denver, yeah, we're
Okay,
local, yeah.
cool.
That's so awesome.
I was going to fly to Japan tomorrow. I'm staying here now.
Perfect.
You want to go out?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll get my costume.
Yeah, that sounds great. But in all seriousness, we're here because we participate with EGS. We are a customer of theirs, and we find an enormous value provided by them when it comes to making higher level operations and finance systems decisions because of their input. And so coming to the event today and tomorrow, I think is going to serve us really well because we'll be able to dive deeper into that feedback, ask the questions, network with people who are doing very similar things to us, have conversations with people like you guys, and just get deeper into the things that really matter to make our businesses successful. Because like we're readily going to nerd out. That's just a given when you get people like us together in a room. But I think Dave and Mike have said it before. Oftentimes, machinists aren't naturally the finance, operations, business kind of folk, and so it's really helpful for us to have their feedback, and we find a lot of value in being a customer of theirs.
Yes, super answer. And did you feel like you received? I know we got another day tomorrow, but did you feel like you received a lot of that today?
Yeah, we learn every time we talk to any of the EBITDA coaches. Mike, Dave, our coach is excuse me, our coach is Dan, and so every time we have a conversation,
Dan's okay.
Good.
He's an okay guy.
Dan is phenomenal. Yeah, I think I'd stack Dan up for sure against any of the ops teams. So
he might take that challenge.
Let's get him up here and see what he says. Yeah,
Dan, we'll get him. I'm gonna put his head in the cake. All right, Nate, did you feel like you received? Yes. Eddie, you're just laughing at my goofy butt all night tonight, right?
Hey.
Did you feel like, why are you here? Is it for the same reasons? And did you learn also?
Absolutely. I think that for me, the major value of this event is getting a plan together for the next year. It's always important to be planning and really being able to check, did you perform to that plan? What intervals are you going to be checking in on what type of metrics to be able to really grow your business? And particularly right now, we're moving into a new facility in a matter of a few weeks, and we're growing at a rapid pace, so we really want to make sure that we're doing that in an intelligent, informed way, and that's why it's so valuable to me to have the input of people who have experience and a wealth of knowledge in this industry to show us our blind spots. Because we all know what we know and don't know what we don't know, so it's very challenging for us to see something when we haven't already seen it. You're just going to have a hard time assessing the things that you're doing poorly. It's just kind of human nature. So it's really, really valuable to have somebody guiding us through the process of making a plan for the next year and pointing out the things that we might be overlooking in regard to the details of where are we at now. I found it really valuable to see, like, okay, from level 1 to 5, where are we right now on each of these categories? Because you might think that everything's going on average at a 4, and then you say, oh wow, I'm a 2 on this. Like, really, we need to make a lot of effort towards getting better at X, Y, and Z different things. So we definitely made some good action lists for the next couple months on things to prioritize, and I think that so far that's been the major benefit of EBITDA for us, is guiding us through making more informed decisions.
How would you say, or advise, or I don't know, I'm not sure the right, but what I want to try to describe, how do you check your ego? Because we're a very prideful industry. How do you check your ego to say, the 2 you just gave me, I thought was a 5, and say, well, okay, I'm willing to learn what I don't know, versus just digging your feet in the sand and be like, no, I'm doing this the best already, and what you're saying is incorrect, because we fight about that. How do you check the ego?
It's a good question. I think that I might err on the opposite side of assuming that I'm doing terrible at everything. So it might not be
I like these guys.
My natural tendency. But the specifics that they make you face are really what guide the answers to deciding what level are you at. When you see a concrete comparison between a goal and where you're actually at, you can't deny the facts, like, do you have a good safety plan in place? Do you have your quality management system where it needs to really be? Do you have all of these things dialed? You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, no, I don't have that done to where I want it to be. Maybe we're halfway to where we want to be, and I'll probably say we're a quarter of the way where we want to be. But I think that there's really no room for ego in growth. That's really kind of, to me, the core of it.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say too. Is Nate is one of the most ready to accept critical feedback people that I've ever met, and I don't know what it is that happened in your career thus far that really gave this to you, but it's super unique how you're able to take a look at a situation, have an idea of how you think something should be approached, and then have like true, honest, like raw, vulnerable discussions and discourse about it, and come away with a changed mind when it's clear that your approach wasn't great, or maybe not even great, maybe your approach was great and it would have worked completely fine, but the feedback that you've gotten shows you that there's still a better way to do it. And I think that attitude really embodies the continuous improvement like mentality that is missing in a lot of old legacy shops that have kind of been doing things the same way forever. How many times have you been into a shop where something has been done the same way forever, and no one has really stopped to check that assessment and said like, well, maybe we could do this even marginally more efficiently? Because in our industry, slight margins yield huge changes to overall cash flow and profitability and total revenue and things like that. Like we could make a fractional percentage change and add an employee. You know, if we save a few $1,000s a month on cutters, like I can have a whole nother person, you know? And so when Nate has the attitude to just rapidly accept whatever comes, as long as it is demonstrably an improvement, I feel like we're really able to utilize all the tools that we've put in place to get better and then capture that as well. So I feel like our trajectory is really, really strong because of that. And it really starts with leadership and being able to take an honest look at what you're good at and what you're not good at and say, you know what, we could grow here. And kind of going back to the action plans and like rank where we are, like there are honest things that we think we're doing better at, or maybe we're doing way better than we were a year or 2 or 3 ago, but like we still have a long way to go by the measure of what can be done. And so we learn that a lot.
I think you deserve this seat. The podcast host seat, I think, is yours.
No.
That was so well said. And it's all of it is so true. Like the value in others, the understanding of what can be accomplished internally by sacrificing some things and focusing on others. Like it's very obvious to me why you're in the role you're in and why you're in the role you're in. Truly, this is valuable information that allow other people to succeed as well. And I appreciate you sharing it here, even dressed as a raccoon. Eddie, I've stolen all of this conversation, buddy. You got to put something in.
You're good.
Did I get you drunk already?
Oh, no.
No, we're still good there.
We're still great.
I would like to celebrate you guys. If you're cheersing with water.
Happy birthday.
That's all
bad
I've
got. It is bad luck.
I would like to celebrate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of the event. Thank you for joining me on the show. I hope you invite me into your factory so that I can celebrate you again with some factory tours, some testimonials, things like that through MTDCNC, because you two truly a joy, so articulate, so intelligent, and a great time as well. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You're
welcome
us.
anytime.
It's been great.
Look, right now, kids are looking at what they're going to be doing in the future, and some of them don't even know what a career in manufacturing could look like. So what we're trying to do is support organizations and initiatives that are telling kids what a career in manufacturing is. So help us give back by purchasing Shop Floor Coffee. You can find us at shopfloorcoffee.com. We're on LinkedIn. Contact us. Let us know how we can support you and your organization.
But I really want to talk about, how was your experience with Shop Rescue? Was it horrible? Was it okay? Was it in between? I feel like there was a lot of drama involved in this whole year worth of filming that we did with you in Arkansas.
Yeah, no. So the experience was great, right, as a whole. But to say everybody at first was comfortable, right? So you have to kind of be uncomfortable to kind of open up with you guys and let you know how the business is operating and where we're at. So we're asking for help. And so I think there was kind of that hurdle at first to get over. But after that, the whole experience about you guys being on site and showing us what you guys can provide and the outreach that you have, like it was a very fun and fulfilling experience, right? So we have an owner that is willing to go out and ask for help. We have a team that EGS and Toby build together, and everybody works together now, and we're kind of pushing that vision forward. So a very fulfilling experience, you know, and your guys' energy that you bring to that, you know, we joked about it today. coming back to the kind of the experience while we're here, you know, they say, wait, we're going to start off with Tony Gunn. And we're like, man, it's like a shot of adrenaline, you know, into the vein, like at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So that's the kind of energy you bring to not just the show, but the industry. And so we were grateful for you guys and had a lot of fun with you guys. And, you know, we grew because of you guys, if that makes sense.
It does.
EGS included, but, you know, the shop rescue experience was almost a separate entity. It was a product of that, but definitely its own experience. And so we're excited to see it, you know, hit the interweb and waiting for the first episode and seeing what you guys put together.
I think what's really interesting is your background, and if you could just give us what wanted to make you get into this industry, because you have a machine shop really right on your premises, right on your property. So that takes, you have to want that, you have to invest, you have to take time in the planning and your effort into that. What made that want to happen, man?
So I grew up with being a mechanic and did that for 5 years right out of school. Wasn't paying well, found another job, paid better, but it was working at a local machine shop. So I started there as a fabricator. I always enjoyed welding, grew up with that. So I was doing fabrication, maintenance stuff, and one day the manager came to me and said, hey, do you want to try machining? I said, sure, I'll give it a try. So I was running a vision-wide bridge mill, a big one. Just learned from scratch from other people, and next thing I know, I'm writing programs with GibbsCAM, running the machining department. Ended up being the manager for 5 years there, and always had this dream of having my own shop. So I pulled the plug and decided to start my own shop at home. So yeah, it's kind of where the start began. You know, my long-term vision of having a business is, you know, providing something that's sustainable, and in hopes of, you know, someday my son wants to take over. And that takes a lot of effort from right in the beginning to create something that's sustainable. And, you know, I think the shop rescue thing is awesome, but I don't want my business to get to that point where I have to have the shop rescue. I don't want
Nobody does.
You know, nobody's coming to save me. So I want to create that culture, you know, around the employees. We thrive on a people first culture. So to me, I want to provide something for my son to invest in, because in our community, there's a lot of other jobs that are more popular than machining, so to speak.
Not just your community, my friend. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Majority of communities, there are other ones that are more popular.
So yeah, that's just what I want to create. You know, hopefully it's sustainable.
Then I have to follow up. Does your son even care about manufacturing?
He loves it.
Loves it.
Loves it.
What does he love about it?
Well, we were at the AME event in Grand Rapids. You were there.
Yes!
So,
You recognize this guy?
yeah, I listened to him speak there.
Nice!
It's a small world.
Yeah.
So that was just keep going. Yeah.
So just before
Talk more
school
about
started-
him. He wants you to talk more about him.
So we started walking through there, and he's never been to a trade show. And he kept walking through there and grabbing stuff from booths. And so pretty soon his bag's full of stuff, and he's like, said, this is all you're coming here for? He's like, no, this is cool, that's cool. But just all the automation that's happening, he's just invested in what's happening in manufacturing.
So knowing this, you have a new experience, you've been subjected, you're deep in it with shop rescue, and me being familiar with season 1, I got to see all of it and to see how inundated that process. So we're going to give you a little bit of light as well. So I'm curious, is there anything specifically, without giving away all the secret sauce in the playbook, that really resonated with you, that really stood out, something that you could potentially take right back to your shop and implement almost immediately?
Yeah, even if it was a free ticket.
Right, so it's really kind of blown me away with all the information that we've been getting today. I can't really pinpoint a specific nugget that I'll take away, but there's definitely all kinds of notes and stuff that I'll take back and, you know, reevaluate it and see where we can do better.
Precisely. And as we kind of wrap things up here and continue this, I am really curious, and I think I asked you earlier, Rodney, but with you specifically, with you getting into it, creating something generational, what excites you the most about the future of just manufacturing as a whole? Very wide open topic, there's no wrong answer, but I'm curious from the bottom of your heart, what really excites you about it?
Probably the creativity of it. So I'm very detail oriented. You know, I like a good product. If it doesn't pass inspection, it's good enough. That's what keeps me going. You know, making good parts, having a happy customer. What I'm excited about is just that overall potentially me being able to train more people in the industry, and that's what drives me. What I'm excited about, because I don't rely on luck, but I kind of fell into the trade. Therefore, I want to provide that to the next generation as well.
The way we look at it is the manufacturing value chain. You know, we're really well known. And by the way, there is no discussion. We're number one.
Well, I'm agnostic.
I'm not.
Yeah.
So
you're allowed to do it.
We're number one.
Yeah.
But we're really well known, and we're number one in machine process. Have been for many years, right? But the manufacturing value chain, there's many more steps: pre-machining, planning, post-machining, verification. You know, so we're essentially bringing a red thread through all those steps, so that there's control, there's knowledge, there's data, and with that we can make educated decisions. We can understand the interconnectivity of decisions and actions. So yeah, we're basically on that journey and taking the industry on that journey as well. And to that end, this is why we love the guys at EBITDA Systems, because they're taking the industry on the journey as well. You know, their mission resonates so much. We've got great people sat behind the camera there making lots of noise, and you know, we all need help. So we need to help them, they need to help us. And I think that's the great thing about this, is the community that's come along with it.
It is a great partnership.
I would agree.
It really is. In fact, to my understanding, you guys have potentially invited EBA to be a part of what's going on in Carolina at your headquarters.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's really a great symbiotic relationship with what's going on right now. And you guys are the leaders. And you say it better than me, because I'm agnostic,
right.
I'm unbiased,
Yeah.
and it's fair for me to say that, but at the same time, we understand what's happening right here. We've seen testimonials of success for years and years, and you guys have done the same thing for a long time. So being a part of that, it's just another branch of a tree that allows everyone to succeed, which is what I know Sandvik to be.
Yeah, it's a North Star, and you know, we're all in this industry because we've got passion for it. But to stay in the industry, we all need to be profitable, successful, and help each other, right? So, but that's why we're here. You know, we want to see the next generation follow on.
Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me be a better human. I feel like I'm better when I'm around you. All right, Sean, make what you do fun, because nobody thinks it's fun, by the way.
Well, it's really just a matter of outsourcing things that can drag you down from a day-to-day basis.
That sounded rude. I actually really like this guy. It sounded rude, but I'm just kidding.
Not
I like
at all.
This guy a lot.
So who wants to deal with health insurance renewals, shopping it? Who wants to deal with hiring, firing, perspiring, handbooks, you know, policy and procedures, those kinds of things. Payroll, 940, 941s, doing people's W-2s for them. You got into business because you had a goal, you had a focus, you had a dream, not to get bogged down with employee-related things. So Frank Crum offers a family of employer solutions to handle all of your employee administrative needs to allow you to focus on the productivity and profitability of your business. So we handle some of that back office things, some of the more intricate things like 401k. Frank Crum is the fiduciary, so a lot of the liability, if not all the liability, is on Frank Crum to keep clients compliant. So through a variety of ways, we own an insurance carrier for workers' comp, we own an insurance agency and MGA, we own a staffing company, and what is called a professional employer organization, which again is just partnering with small to medium and large businesses and helping with all these human resource needs. How's that for a summary of a lot of things?
It's all right, but Eddie, I've stole it again. Please take over. I'm gonna take a nap for a minute. Please take over.
That's all right. These shoulders are made for leaning on, my guy. Made for leaning on, though. So knowing this, gentlemen, there's lots of exciting things happening in the industry. And then moving into cutting tools, I've done lots of demos with MSC and represented a variety of these. And so knowing this, you're hearing from a lot of different sectors. what's the most exciting, what's this next trend, what people need to be paying attention to. So in your world, in your opinion, even after absorbing the information today, what is that? What do we need to have our eyes set on looking forward in the future in vision casting?
That's an interesting question. The one word that springs to mind is sustainability.
Unpack that.
Yeah, I think, a lot of the global OEMs, if not all of them now, are demanding sustainability solutions and data to support that. We're putting so much time and energy into that. We can now demonstrate not only how much time and money we save on productivity improvements, but how much CO2 we save as well. So we're very transparent with that. So if any of these guys here today are working on working for OEMs, they should be thinking like this of how can I report and deliver the improvements I'm making, because that differentiates, and that's really what the world's looking for now. I think we owe that to our children, right?
Can I stick a steak knife in that conversation for fun, which actually probably splits Europe and the US?
Yep.
And I want the US to be better, but let's be honest, when we talk about sustainability, we also talk about profitability. If we're not profitable, oftentimes we don't care about sustainable, and I want us to care more. I do, but that's not necessarily the case. Whereas Europe, Scandinavia, they care about sustainability, sometimes over profitability, because it's good for our kids, as you mentioned. Right. And I'm catching a small accent from you, Gavin, even though you live in Texas. I think you might come from another country.
Yeah.
I also know who he is, and I know that he comes from England.
Y'all are wrong.
Y'all. Oh, you're going to Texas now, y'all.
He hit us with the y'all.
Y'all.
Oh.
But with like an English accent version of y'all. Can you do it again?
Y'all.
Y'all? Yeah? That's not bad.
Is that not Texan?
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Do you put boots on this guy? He's a Texan.
Do you have boots?
No.
Not today.
Not yet.
Not yet. So what I want to try to do is be a kindergartner and connect dots to create this graph of how can we create a situation where Europe is caring about sustainability and eco-friendly and these types of things, and I hope I'm not offending anyone, it's not my point, but other parts of the world care more about profitability than they do eco-friendly and sustainability. How do we connect those dots to allow everyone to resonate with the idea that our kids should have a life as well?
Right. I'm going to challenge that thought.
Oh, please.
So, why do you think that sustainable solutions are more expensive solutions?
I would say that I don't own a machine shop and I don't know that answer. I just know the conversations that I have often lean in that direction.
Exactly, and that's why I make that statement, because we hear this day in, day out. So the way that we approach this is in our traditional way. We take a problem, we unpack that problem, we re-engineer a solution, and then we report the actual sustainability savings. Now, if a customer comes to us and said, hey, we need to really reduce our CO2 impact on this, we can take that approach, absolutely we can. But let's take baby steps. Let's still do those productivity and dollar savings, but report what the CO2 impact is. So that's the approach that we take.
And that's a very responsible answer.
I'm a responsible guy.
Looking at a couple of stigmas, you probably hear a lot of this misinformation. So I'm curious, what are some major or the most major misunderstanding about what you do and your impact on manufacturers?
Oh goodness, that's a good question. Well, so the whole reason I'm here is because of Dave and Mike and EBITDA. So, and what they're trying to do, help people be more profitable, drive more revenue, be more efficient. I feel like we do the same thing for a small business. So you're not turning your business over to someone else. You're not losing control. That's probably the number one misnomer is we're a partner. So through the client service agreement that we have, of course, is in there, it just tells you that we're not going to hire and fire your people. You're going to control 100% of the operation of what you're doing. We're here as support. So whether you're in California, you got all kinds of crazy human resources issues, and you need guidance to make sure you button that up and take care of not only the employee, but make sure your company is taken care of, we're there to walk you through those examples. Same thing on the health insurance. You probably will be able to offer a better product, a richer product at a more competitive price, not always, than you can doing it on your own. So you're giving your quality employees the benefits that they deserve so they stick around longer, you grow your business longer or better over a period of time, take care of your employees, whether it's a match on 401k, providing vision or dental. Dental is directly tied to health insurance, so the better your dental care, the better your overall health. Those kind of supplementals being available along with the health insurance, and then just the mundane tasks of a workers' comp renewal for a machine shop. If the guy had a great year and in January, February, March, April, May was doing a lot of hiring and you brought on more payroll, you brought on more risk, next time your workers' comp renews, you've got more payroll, more risk that you didn't pay for the previous year. Now you got to lay down more premium to pay for last year before you renew for this year. So there's a lot of moving parts to it, and we just try to essentially do the best we can to make the short and medium term more of a fixed cost rather than these surprises and these big renewals on health insurance and a workers' comp premium that's crazy, and just try to make it as static as possible for the business owner so they can concentrate on other things. That was a mouthful.
You could. I respect you, but I surely do not envy you. Not in the slightest.
But we help people. Think about it.
Clearly.
You start a business, you got 5 employees, let's say. What the hell do you know about 941s, W-2s? What do you know about doing payroll, making sure people are paid on time, what you can't say in the office? Do you have a handbook? What you go in there? What state are you in? Are you in Florida? Are you in California? There's all kinds of, very statutory still. So we're the United States of America, but we are very statutory. So you will see differences in Chicago, Massachusetts versus Florida, Texas, and so on. So the biggest misnomer is people think they might be giving up control to a Frank Crum, whereas Frank Crum is there as your support staff. You hire, you fire, you perspire. We're there as your support network.
But this is a little bit interesting to me. So
I saw smoke coming out of your ears. Actually,
oh dear,
you were listening intently.
I was.
Gavin, feed us.
Sorry, but
no.
So I'm doing your job now. But you know, we were talking today about employee retention and employee training, and actually this is part of that employee journey, right? You need to look after those valuable employees. So without, as a small shop, without the knowledge and experience of somebody like Frank Crum, then quite frankly, you're going to lose those skilled employees to somebody who does offer that value, right? And that
happens all the time.
It's like employer branding now. So
it's attracting and retaining the quality employees. Now you've got a niche market in these machine shops. That is very unique. So, the guys working the machines may want X, Y, and Z. Are you able to provide it? And then, I feel like we help people. So how much of your day, or is one of your employees' days consumed with those kinds of things when they could be functioning in a much better, more efficient fashion, concentrating on growing the business or productivity or following up with a sales call or anything that can grow and do more for the business rather than kind of some of these mundane tasks. So Frank Crum started in 1981, one of the pioneers of this industry. Frank Crum Staffing, Frank Crum Insurance Agency, Frank Winston Crum Insurance for Workers' Comp, Frank Crum PEO. There's really nothing we can't do for a company as small as 1 employee, which I have clients that are 1 and 2 employees. We've had the Buccaneers, we've had the Tampa Bay Lightning, we've had larger staffing corporations, thousands of employees. They all still need the same things, and no matter how big they are, they still think they're a small company. So I feel that we help those people. So it's really, I don't want to say it's easy, but we bring quite a lot of value to just about any size business.
I haven't heard a name drop yet. Did you say something about Frank Crum?
Frank Crum is our CEO, yes. So Frank Crum Jr. is our CEO. Haley, his daughter, runs business affairs, client experience, and staffing. She's also president of FAPIO, which is the Florida Association of Professional Employer Organizations. First woman president since 1997. Ooh. So as far as the legislature and things coming down the pike, working with Washington and regulations to keep the industry where it needs to be, she's at the head of the table now. Frank's son, Matt, is president of the workers' comp carrier and the insurance agency. So we'll do $3.5 billion in revenue this year just in the PEO.
Can I work for you?
And we're still a family-run outfit.
Are you hiring?
We are hiring.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you looking for people like me or probably not?
Absolutely. I got a brand new boss. Michael, there you go. He'll do just fine for us.
I'm younger and prettier.
All true. All true. Younger and prettier for sure.
So I feel like we're kind of on the periphery of this EBITDA Growth Systems, but we're dovetailed, like kind of intertwined on, how to increase productivity and profitability, reduce time spent on transactional HR, lowering your overall liability and cost. Frank Crum. You lay it all out. You got somebody doing workers' comp, health insurance, general liability. Somebody else is handling your HR. You got everything all over the place. One group of professionals to handle all of that for you. It's more efficient. You got me. Heck, Dave texted me during a freaking hurricane a month ago. I responded, we're in a Cat 3, I'm going to have to get back to you. But I still responded.
Weren't you in your kayak?
No, thankfully.
Like texting back? Like, I got you, buddy.
Thankfully, I'm very grateful. We weathered both storms, so. And we have disaster preparations as well. So we've got the Clearwater office. It can run without power. Then we've got offsite locations in Texas and other places to back up all this stuff because you got people's social security numbers, names, addresses, emergency contacts, and whatnot. That's important data to be able to protect and retrieve at a moment's notice.
Sean, why did you decide to come?
Well, it started because Dave was a client with a previous company.
Hold on, stop your roll. Shut your mouth when you're talking to me. We're here because everyone else is a client of Dave's. Dave is a client of yours?
That's correct.
Okay.
So he sold the company initially that was with us. They didn't stay, that's fine. And then he started EBITDA. He's continued to be my client, our client. He sees the value in what we provide. So he's like, last year, you should come out. I'm like, well, I should come out. So started last year, and then here we are, second year in a row. And I believe in what they do and what they're doing for these clients of theirs. And Dave believes in what we do and what we bring to the table. And we're just kind of part of the puzzle of all the things that they're doing for these fine folks.
Thank you both for being here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And I hope you realize that was authentic, by the way, Gavin.
No,
That's real.
If not, you
really
can fake sincerity very well.
Well, maybe, but no, but not in this situation. Not in this situation.
No, I
appreciate you both very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here very much. Eddie, any final thoughts?
No. Thank you guys for sharing your wisdom and your feedback on this specific event. It's really cool. One thing I continue to hear is a lot of individuals who have spoken with us today talk about impact. You're no exception to that. And I think that it speaks to not only ourselves, but also the industry. That we're not thinking about just, let's get what we can right now. What can we do to set everybody up for the future? So thank you for continuing to resonate that, continuing to validate that within the industry. I think that's huge, and that is by no means an accident whatsoever.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, thank you. That was good.
We gotta go to bed. We've been doing this for what, 3 hours now?
Quite a while.
We're done. We appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in. It's been amazing. So we're gonna give a shout out to Pro Shop just because Paul is standing here right now. If you don't know what's going on in your shop, incorporate Pro Shop. If you're trying to get into these areas of ISOs, get into Pro Shop. They will help you figure it out. I've been to so many shops that said, I will take care of you. I don't know how to take care of myself, but thanks to Pro Shop. Also, thanks to Scotch.
Thank a machinist.
Thank a machinist. That is absolutely correct. We're done for the day. We're done for the night. We're done for tomorrow. I'm flying away. Eddie, thank you for being the host and for letting me be the co-host.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.